Hey, peace and blessings. This is Satori, and what we're going to do is do a sit-down vibe session, and we're going to get into the topic. We basically call the topic "Truth Is," and basically just from all the the response and from the support. And first, I want to take a moment and just say thank you for everyone that's been kind of providing support and been following my blogs, and also been liking and being we call them friends on Facebook, but I like to call them family. I just want to just give a shout out and extend love to all of y'all, and actually y'all kind of encouraged for this effort to really start happening. There's been some requests like hey, why don't you take this stuff onto YouTube and kind of explain some things through video. And so that's what we're going to start doing. And so we're going to call these vibe sessions, and one of the things that we'll be doing just get into, short, quick little topics and just drop a little bit of, pearls of wisdom, a little bit nugget. We're all on a spiritual path, so we're all on this quest together. And I just want to share my input, along this journey. And so we're going to do what truth is. And one of the things we can draw our minds to is, I know a lot of us are familiar with the scripture where it says, you should know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And we really think about that part where it says the truth shall make you free. It allows us to understand that when we talk about freedom, you have to talk about truth, because they're in tandem. So truth and freedom are in tandem. You can't really you can't talk about freedom without having the truth. And so that scripture really provides a lot of insight. So also really understand that when we start talking about freedom, freedom follows the environment of truth. Freedom follows the environment of truth. I want you to think about that as well. So when we're saying we're trying to get free, it has to be an environment to coincide with that freedom. So there's another thought with it. When we negate truth, you restrict freedom. So if truth is suppressed, that means you're suppressing freedom as well. And so we have to come to the point and understand that our pursuit to be free in different areas of our lives have to coincide with the truth. So let's talk about what freedom means. Freedom is to mean to have the ability to be able to rule and control your environment. Freedom is the ability to be able to rule and have control over your environment. Now, so when we look at that word environment, if you split that word in half and you if you take environ, E-N-V-I-R-O-N, that means surrounding. And then if you take the suffix of it, ment, which means the mind. So environment refers to anything that impresses, any influence that impresses the mind. In one aspect, if we're going to define it. But when we talk about the environment, we're basically talking about the various different type of impressions that are impressed upon us, that influences us either internally or externally. So what that means is you have an internal environment and you also have an external environment. So the inner environment, if you think about it, that means there's a mental environment, there is a volitional environment, there is also a sensual environment, there's also a sexual environment, and there's also a spiritual environment, and then also there's an emotional environment. And all the things I just listed they reside within inside you. Actually, all those things comprises and makes up what we call the self. And so that environment is the first environment that needs to get free before we even affect our external environment. Now, when we talk about the external environment, we can talk about the social environment. We can talk about the economic environment. We also can talk about the moral environment. We can talk about the political environment. We can talk about the educational environment. We also can talk about, we also can talk about the health environment as well, and also the domestic environment. And of course, there's different supporting activities up under each environment if we want to go deeper into that, but that's not for this video right here. I'm quite sure we all could pretty much explore and go deeper on that. So you have an internal environment, you have an external environment. And so when it begins to affect internally, how we're affecting internally by our environment is going to determine how we're going to affect our environment externally. So then we look at the word truth. Truth is the knowledge of reality. If we're going to give a simple definition, truth is the knowledge of reality. So we also could say truth is the source of information that brings an awareness into a reality. And so this is basically, if you look at that, this allows us to understand that truth, the truth does certain things, will do certain things for us. The truth will awaken. There's certain things that the truth will awaken. And this is what this part I want to get to. There's a couple points that I want to draw out. The truth will awaken us to know the causes and effects of people's actions. Also allows us to know the cause and the effects of activities that we see going on. So it allows us to be able to get, so basically what truth does, truth allows us to pierce beyond what is evident and see behind what we see. And so what that means is that it allows us to be able to go behind what we're seeing and see the how. We see how a thing is happening. See, it's one thing, we can have knowledge, and then knowledge will allow you to be able to be aware of what is happening. You know what's happening. But truth will take you deeper, and truth will allow you to be able to see how it is happening. The second point is that truth will awaken us to know the state of people's mindsets. First of all, the truth will allow you to be able to know the state of your own mindset first, of course. So we're not going to, exclude that. But also, when you receive truth, or when truth is present, or when people are influenced by the truth, it will allow us to be able to know the state of people's mindsets. That's pretty interesting. Also, another point is that when the truth will also awaken us to understand the outcomes of behaviors, or the outcome of traits, certain personality traits that we recognize. The truth will allow you to understand the outcomes of it. So if you behave one particular way, we know there's certain measurable outcomes that's going to follow simply because of how someone has behaved. And so that is truth. And that's what truth provides. All right, so truth also awakens us to have, truth awakens us to be able to gain insight into somebody's culture. And when we talk about the word culture, we're not really talking about race. When we talk about culture, we're talking about expression. And you're able to see the source behind somebody's expression. So you begin to understand and tap into culture. I mean, we can go we can go much deeper into culture, but I just kind of want to leave it right there at the level, the point I just brought out right there. So truth awakens us to understand and gain insight into people's culture. Also, if you want to take it a little bit further, there's also an inner culture that each and one of us has operating inside of us. And that inner culture is comprised of, the mind, basically the mental environment, basically the volitional environment, the sensual environment, the sexual environment, the emotional environment, and the spiritual environment that makes up what we call the self. Okay? And so bring it back now to also, let's get back to the truth. Truth also awakens us to, allows the ability to assess, or allows, or provide, I'm sorry, I should say it provides us with accessible evidence from, it allows us to be able to assess what is going on. It gives us an accessible evidence from the consequence of someone's actions. It also allows us to be able to assess, it gives us accessible evidence from the result of something. So which means is that we can measure through assessing from activity, or from what, or how someone behaves, or from some particular action, we can assess it. So truth allows you, and truth empowers you to be able to assess the activity of a thing. So up to this point, when you think about what we talk about truth is the knowledge of reality. And as some things I went, got a little more deeper into, and we'll continue with more video shots, of course, as we go, as we go further into this topic. But for right now, I want you to understand that truth is reality. And that also, because truth is reality, truth is also measurable. Truth is the knowledge of reality, and then truth is also measurable. And so I'm going to go ahead and end right there. Again, peace and blessings. I want to give you life and light and greet you in that. And again, one love. Y'all be blessed.